movies, hanging on the mountains and singing and things like that. And you know, and he was like the friend always, his rucksack and let's go up the mountain, you know. And then, and I saw him coming out of the car, I was going, oh, 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 oh. And there was all the reporters waiting in front of the gate, you know, before he gets into the grounds. So he got out of his car, before he could make it to the reporters, our Urangama, you know, is shooting, passing me by, screaming at him, "Hey, Louis!" I was going, oh no! He goes our PR preaching, you know, oh my God. And he was going, "Hey, Louis!" And to my great surprise, because he was so ecstatic, running across the parking lot towards him, the man stopped, you know, and he had also a big smile. And the first thing our Orangama is saying, because the man was just famous for climbing up the Alps, you know, the mountains, and he said, "Louis, I have a book for you. It's about Himalaya." I was going, what a mantra. And he sold him a Bhagavad Gita on a basis of its book about Himalaya. The man really took the book. He was completely, he was so caught by the enthusiasm of the devotee. He became completely frantic, you know. He was an old man. You know, and he was like, "Himalaya, yeah." I wasn't there. I was only in the Alps, you know. And, you know, and our Orangam was, "Louis, you have to go to Himalaya because Krishna is there." You know, it's like, oh, Krishna. What a preaching. The man bought Bhagavad Gita. He was so in ecstasy when he was running towards the gate. He was waving with the Bhagavad Gita on the reporter and he said, "I got this book, I got this book." And he went in. It was insane. But because it was powered by absolute enthusiasm and no duplicity. There was no secondary motivation. When I distribute this Bhagavad Gita, I become famous. When I this and that and this and this and this. This is the power of preaching. That you don't have a secondary motivation. You don't go out there to preach, to be praised by people. You don't go out there and preach to, you know, to get money. You don't go out there to be recognized as a big philosopher and a big Vedantist. You just go out there to give them something from Srila Prabhupada, you know, and benefit them spiritually in this way. When you have that motivation, people can feel it. They can see it. They will appreciate it. So this is what Prabhupada is pointing on this letter here. I did nothing else. I simply repeated what Bhaktisiddhanta said. I did nothing else. This is actually, you know, the essence. Something else? Someone else too? Prabhupada let us find so many things. Just the information for the pujaris. Ivory is as pure as concho. You can use ivory, you know, all down hard. I know another thing. You find such a details in Prabhupada letters. Huh?
I was just thinking about, I heard Navina Nirakupu, he says that one of the most important things in book distribution is knowing why you should distribute the books, not how. So I was just thinking in relation to Srila Prabhupada, what are your top reasons why we should distribute Srila Prabhupada's books?
There's so many. But Srila Prabhupada started with a very simple explanation. Why is he actually pushing book distribution so much? He said, I actually on this point did follow my spiritual master blindly. You know, that was especially coming up, that question, when Prabhupada came up with the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which created quite a questions amongst devotees. They're going, Prabhupada, I don't understand one word of this. How can people understand Chaitanya Charitamrita? Is this the book we are supposed to distribute like this on the street? You know, Prabhupada said, yes, I followed my spiritual master blindly. That means he wanted me to publish his books, and I'm publishing them. And when they are published, they have to be distributed. So that's one level to explain what we are doing. Of course, public will not accept that. But it's very easy to explain that we are disseminating knowledge. Knowledge about that what is to be known, not what is not to be known. People always go, what knowledge? That's belief. No, knowledge. Knowledge is what to be known. Because people throw these things. You have to be very careful. Prabhupada, as you today pointed out, Prabhupada was very catchy on words. He could defeat a person just on the basis of the very same vocabulary he was using. Because most of the people don't know even what they are saying. They don't know. They're just using words because they heard them and they repeat them like parrots. This is scientific. I'm a scientist. So what is science? I don't know. But I'm a scientist. Well, how can you be something you don't know what it is? It's fanaticism. What is science? You, Hare Krishna, you want to tell me what science is? Yes, I can tell you what is science. It's based on experiment, observation, conclusion. That's what a scientist is doing. So what are you experimenting with? What is your experiment? What is your observation? What is your conclusion? Latest at the point of conclusion, they are completely finished. They say, there is no conclusion. Because it could be. It could be maybe. That it could be. You know? What kind of science is this? There's no conclusion. You know? That's called speculation. So Prabhupada said they are not scientists, they are not intellectuals, they are Shudras. They simply have some skill to construct some machine. And what is the aim? What is the goal? Why are they doing that? To improve sense gratification. That's all. As they say, to make a life better. Oh, it sounds... Anything you see. I was not so long time visiting my father, and he was had always quite a library, you know. So he has this book there, like 1,000 words of wisdom, something like this. Just quotes, you know, from Chinese philosophers up to some up to Karl Marx or whatever. You know what they say. This kind of sutra, you know, just. I went through the book. You know, I couldn't catch meaning of one thing. It was so empty. It was like an empty pages. Wisdom. Some guy said, when you are happy, then you are not sad. Big wisdom. Oh, it was so full of this kind of junk. And people print this, considering this to be knowledge. Come on. You know, this is what describes in Bhagavad Gita. They don't know one thing. They cannot see the forest because of so many trees. They don't know where they are, they don't know what. This kind of wisdom. You know, when you are happy, then you are not sad. But it's up, it's not down. You know, and then comes the mystics, you know, when you are in, then you are out. You know, it's never defined. Why? Because they don't know one thing. It's all blah, 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 blah. People think, yo, this sounds really interesting. Why? Because I don't understand it. That must be something very deep, because I don't understand this. Did you heard about this? When you are in, you are out. There's a new movement. The main guru said, when you are in, you are out. He must really know, he figured it really out, you know. This was demonstrated very nice in one movie, where a man lives through his life and he gets so confused, so he starts to run. He's just running. And he's just running out of his, actually he wants to run away from his life. So he just gets he just runs. And he runs across America this way and that way and this way. And when he does it 2-3 times, people catch up, you know, there is a running man. And then people join him and they start to run too. And they go, I saw you on TV. That's important in America. If you're not on TV, you don't exist. You're running. You really got it, you know. I got enlightened. I understand. One is to run. Yeah. And they, and at the end he has a whole gang of them But he doesn't care. He's not preaching it. He doesn't say one word. He's just running. And that's exactly what makes people so attractive. So everybody interprets their own ideas into him. And at the end he has 60 people running with him across America, back and forth. You know, and at a certain point he stops. And they go, he stopped! Now he will reveal the ultimate truth. And they flock around him. And he looks at them like, what are these people doing here? And then he says, I am so tired. And then he goes home. And they are, what does it mean, I'm so tired? There must be something, really, this was the ultimate sutra, you know. And they stand there like a bunch of idiots in the middle of the countryside. This is usually functioning like that. There are so many of them out there, writing books and discussing, and when you are in, you are out, and you know, and the world came from a big black square and a big black hole and big something, and they are just everybody cooking up their brains. It's even financed by the states. You know how much money get into the so-called education? This is what made Prabhupada furious. Prabhupada was very practical. He said, they are misspending money, financing educational systems for what? Especially when it comes to philosophy. What? So devotees should be very determined to fight this. Expose it. Prabhupada was furious. He said, expose them, embarrass them, challenge them. Yeah? Because it's cheating. And it's the ultimate defeat and obstruction towards spiritual life. They prevent that people can make a spiritual progress by filling their brains with who knows what.
If we meet like these so-called scientists on the street, should we like oppose them and expose them on the street, or should we rather not waste our time with it?
Depends. No, generally Prabhupada said we should not waste our time with people who believe already in something. They are very convinced about something. You can express, Prabhupada said we should definitely express our disagreement, but you will not be able to change them. So why to waste time? We should be available for those who have some doubt. Some doubt. Something came up. There we should be immediately available. Should not waste our time with. But Prabhupada said we must voice our disagreement. Generally when you deal with stupidity, that's the ultimate policy. You cannot stop stupidity. There will be always so much stupidity around us. And the older you get, the worse it gets. So much stupidity. People cheering up stupidity by millions. So there's another idiot coming out and they go, hey! And then a few years later nobody knows what it is. Nobody can even remember who that was. Yeah. So we should not waste time with this. But we should state, in essence, Krishna consciousness is for a very, very limited group of people. Even it's distributed to everybody. Everybody gets a chance, but that doesn't mean that everybody takes it. Therefore, when devotees start to realize that they got doubts, they say, Prabhupada, we are preaching, we are doing so many things, but so few people really become devotees. And they take really advantage of that knowledge. Prabhupada said, that's not our concern. He quoted immediately Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, if I could create only one moon, it will illuminate the whole sky. There are so many stars. So one person, and Prabhupada demonstrated what one person can do. This is the, So we should not even speculate. Why are they not understanding and why are they not, Of course, that's part of preaching. You've got something so pure to address such a massive wall of stupidity. Don't expect it's going to disappear immediately. The fools are always, at the majority. Always. You don't find that the majority are the intelligent ones and then there are a few fools aside. Fools are always the majority. We should just be very firm, and that's where Prabhupada derived his inspiration. He derived his inspiration by simply following the spiritual master. And this way suddenly he was happy in the midst of the most crazy circumstances, and the most discouraging circumstances too. But never actually Prabhupada was seen of giving up the hope and going, oh, this is so useless, why did I came here, and wow, what are we actually doing here? No, he never gave up. Because he acted upon the simple principle that what the public likes or not likes, well, that's one issue, but the major issue is that I'm serving him, my spiritual master. That's all. Like, not like, that may change. Sometimes they like more, sometimes they like less. Huh?
I just remembered one quote here which I've been contemplating quite some. It says, when people are actually educated in the mode of goodness, they will become sober, in full knowledge of things as they are.
Yes.
Then people will be happy and prosperous. Even if the majority of the people aren't happy and prosperous, if a certain percentage of the population develops Krishna consciousness and becomes situated in the mode of goodness, then there is possibility for peace and prosperity all over the world.
Very good quote. That's exactly what it is.
Can you elaborate?
No, it's completely all inclusive.
Yeah, it's very clear.
That's what it is. So we should be satisfied with there are only few. But we should take it also as a challenge. Not to mess up things. And not to pervert things in such a way so people cannot get to the original meaning Prabhupada gave. So for deviations, one has to be always on guard. And that goes all the way through tilak, not tilak, dhoti, not dhoti. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you doing? I can give you a quote on this. Prabhupada writes on that. Regarding your question how to offer respect to sannyasis, a very sannyasi, even if you see a Mayavadi sannyasi, offer him your respect. This is written to Jayapataka Maharaj to India, who were starting preaching in India, who were encountering the first challenges like that. Meeting sannyasis, Mayavadi sannyasis. So they were used, Prabhupada trained them, sannyasi obeisances, but then they saw what these people do, Yeah. So, regarding your question how to offer respect to sannyasis, every sannyasi, even if you see a Mayavadi sannyasi, offer him your respects. There will be no harm. As we have observed, we shall follow Lord Chaitanya's instruction that we give all due respects to others regarding their position. So there is a certain position, but there is no need of always associating with each of them. Even if one is a Vaishnava, but not of good character. We can give him Vaishnava respect, but we cannot associate with him. Yeah? So this is, Prabhupada always urged us not to give up, not to give up intelligence. Discrimination has to be always there in all regards. Don't get blindfolded by simple appearance. Yes, you offer respect, yeah, Hare Krishna, and that's it. If that person is talking some nonsense, that's like as Prabhupada, writes to Satsvarup Maharaj, sings, no, to Guru Das he's writing. How could you allow this person comes in the temple, sits on the Vyasasans and give a lecture? Some Sanskrit professor. He said, Vyasasan this is a representative of Vyasadeva, so he must talk exactly on the line of Vyasadeva. If he is not, he cannot sit on the Vyasasan. So how can you allow such a thing? And he said, no, actually I stopped him, because he started to talk some nonsense. And then he didn't stop, so I asked him to leave. Prabhupada said, very good. So Prabhupada was not compromising. On one side, yes, we respect if somebody appears in a certain way. But as soon as he opens the mouth, or he deviates, or he's just introducing something which we can verify as being, not the standard, then we should oppose. And if it upgrades to the level of offenses, well, you know what you do with such a person. There's 3 steps. First, you try to defeat by argument. If that is not possible, cut out his tongue. That's not very practical today. Please, don't cut anybody's tongues. And then there's a 3rd step, which is very practical. You just leave. That's all. You just leave, so you are not part of the offense. So leaving is also a practical thing to do. That's for the extreme situations, where things are already so compromised and so deranged. Srila Prabhupada demonstrated this in India, in public, in a public function, with hundreds and hundreds of people participating. A Mayavadi sannyasi giving a lecture on the stage. And already the fact that Prabhupada, he was supposed to sit there like one of the gurus on the stage. Prabhupada didn't like such functions at all. But somehow the devotees just arranged, so he just came. They seated him in a public. So Prabhupada was sitting there. And then, and the man spoke in Hindi. Devotees couldn't understand what he was talking. So Prabhupada, and they saw Prabhupada getting more and more stern, more and more heavy in the face. They knew something is coming down here. And suddenly in the middle of the speech, the man just, they are very charismatic, these Mayavadi sannyasis, they just go in. And people are just, wow! Prabhupada suddenly just shouted, Kirtan! And he pulled Carlos and was going, Namo! And started Kirtan, completely breaking up the lecture. Everybody, well, and these devotees, okay, Prabhupada is chanting. They immediately got up and they chanted with him. So Prabhupada immediately made a kirtan, and then when the speaker stopped, he stopped him by the kirtan, and then he exited the hall, just while chanting. It was a complete scandal. Total uproar. So, devotees were shocked. They never saw Prabhupada acting so unpolitely. When Prabhupada in a personal discussion was confronted with some foolishness, he was going, yes. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, immediately. So he cut it by quoting. And nobody could argue much with that because it was quoting. It was not his opinion. He just quoted. Prabhupada was very expert to deal with people. He knew exactly, he could handle Westerners and Indians. We are not the expert, we just have limits. Sometimes somebody comes from India, we say, oh, it's very nice. But he may not be so nice. And sometimes Indians think, oh, this Western person is so nice. But we, being born in West, we know, oh, that's a cheater. So it's difficult when you deal with so many different races and people coming from different backgrounds. But Prabhupada was so expert, so he could handle very much. And of course, people are tending to judge you according to the color of the skin, according to the cultural background you come from. Devotees encountered it right away, especially in the early days of this movement. It was very difficult in India. People were saying, what are these white people? They were curious, wow! But many times they were thinking, what are these white people doing here? Just chanting. And so what chanting? My grandfather was also chanting. What is that? And they want to tell me something about Krishna. I grew up hearing stories from Krishna. So what do they want to preach to me? But Prabhupada was also very rigid on that. He said, there is plenty of room to learn. And then gradually this movement was established to such a degree that people start to understand there is a very vast body of knowledge behind our thing. And above all, it brings the essence out of bhakti. Bhakti is not a sentimental thing to sit somewhere and sing and chant. Bhakti means ultimately you surrender your life to Krishna. And that's actually what these devotees were doing. They were not big Vedantists, they were not very expert in quoting shlokas, but they surrendered their whole life to Krishna. Krishna, just take care of me. I will serve you now, completely. that's actually the essence of the whole thing. Prabhupada gave example of the gopis. They were married, they had so many excuses, but when Krishna called, they dropped everything, just like that. So this is actually the essence. And we get to it in various ways. Some people are more complicated, they have to think more. Some people do it simply by heart. But that's actually what the real goal is. Something else? So we wouldn't sit here and discuss these things without Srila Prabhupada. We are not culturally qualified, we are not philosophically qualified. We don't have anything to offer. The only thing which really goes to the credit of these first devotees who joined this movement, they unconditionally followed Srila Prabhupada. Even in a mood of copying him, but still they unconditionally followed. And that is what Krishna recognized. Therefore they exhibited preaching power, and they were effective in ways they even themselves couldn't understand. When you become a tool in Krishna's hands, you do things which you just... It's like Srila Prabhupada was reading his own books. Normally, people write a book, they think, yeah, I read it so many times. No, Prabhupada was reading his own books because he said, no, actually, Krishna wrote this. I didn't write this. Krishna wrote this. It's interesting, isn't it? And this is when you are empowered. You preach things you never heard. It can happen. Or you deal with people in a way you never dealt before. You wonder, why is this happening? Oh, it's amazing. It is amazing in one sense, because Krishna takes charge. You think it's possible to go out on the street and sell people books about God? To people who came to this world to forget God. And in a society which is completely designed to forget God. And here we are selling people by books about God by thousands. At least Srila Prabhupada's presence. The results were just amazing. I spent 20 years of my life distributing these books on the street every day. You meet people, they go, no, I don't want these books. And they pull the money out. They go, I'm not reading any books. And they pay. And they go, but I don't want the books. And they put it in a bag. And you go, yeah, bye-bye. And they go, yes, as you know, I don't read any books. And they go and they just bought a book. They don't know what they are doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Krishna's will is happening. I could tell stories day and night. Man gets out of the car and I approach him and go, good hunting. And he goes, how do you know I'm a hunter? There was no external symptoms. He didn't have a dead deer in a trunk. And I said, well, that's all in these books. When you meet people, you know them. Just get one. And he bought a book. And now he went away saying, why did I say hunter? I don't know. I had no idea what I'm saying. Why did I call the man hunter? Or it gets even worse. You just look at people, smile, and people come to you and they go, it's terrible. And you go, yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? Terrible. This world is terrible. And you go, yeah. So you just eat